Hey everyone! With the new novel Aftermath Empires and coming out next week, I wanted to try to pump out the old Aftermath book reviews as soon as possible. So today I'm going to be reviewing Aftermath, which is the first in the trilogy. It came out in September of 2015, and basically the Death Star is destroyed, the second Death Star, and it just starts to fill in some of the pieces after Return of the Jedi. So we got the Death Star's destroyed, Emperor Palpatine's been killed. It's the three-headed monster. There's no Darth Vader, there's no Death Star, there's no Palpatine. Kind of where does the Empire, especially the Imperial Navy, kind of pick up the pieces? The rebellion is starting to gain some ground, and the Empire is trying to pick up the pieces and stick together. So I wanted to dive pretty deep in this book review. There will be some spoilers. This book has been out for a long time now. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers, just click next video or just exit the page. But I will be discussing some of the things that do happen. So this book is very interesting because there's some pieces of it that are very entertaining, very good. But there is a reason why this book wasn't reviewed and didn't score as well as a lot of other Star Wars books. The narration for this style of novel is really different. In my opinion, it just changes perspective and characters way too often. So, for example, if we're taking, a Harry Potter book or, something with a core set of like 3 or 4 characters, I don't mind seeing Harry, Ron, and Hermione's views, for example, if something were to happen, right? But I don't care about these extra characters and seeing their views for like 30 seconds and then never hearing from them again. And that's what this book does sometimes. We focus on a core set of characters, for example, like Wedge and Admiral Reyes Sloane. And they're all good, but sometimes we just jump to side characters that interact with them and see from their perspective for just a couple pages and then never again in the book. So it's really jumpy. It's interesting, but I feel like you could just condense the book down and actually tell a way better story if you just stuck with, limited perspective from just some of the core characters instead of jumping around so much. And there's a couple instances where, for example, if a bomb explodes, we'll see it from the main character's perspective, the secondary character's perspective, the antagonist, protagonist. Like, you just see it from 6 different perspectives to take place over a 10-second event of time. And so it's really kind of annoying sometimes. I feel like we're just like kind of throwing stuff in there. And there's these interludes where just they'll go jump somewhere random in the galaxy to give a little tidbit of information. And even though these are just thrown in there, understand what it's doing. Like, it's trying to give some little facts, some cool things to show the seeds of what's to come, because they can't all do that in the main storyline. For example, they talk about Darth Vader's lightsaber, which has nothing to do with the main story, but they still want to talk about it. And I was fine with that because it, gives it a pause. But I think this just style of writing is a little different. But Aftermath, it tells a compelling story. It's kind of a mother-son story predominantly. Wedge Antilles is in it a little bit. But basically focuses, this family bounty hunter and Wedge trying to get off of Kiva. The Empire has put a blockade around the planet. And that in itself was pretty interesting. The Empire has some of its top commanders meeting to discuss what's our next steps with the Empire and the Navy. So they get all of their commanders together to set up this meeting. And by chance, pretty much, some rebels encounter them, and it's kind of this back and forth cat and mouse game. And it's enjoyable. I just feel like it's just slow paced. Not the writing, but just like to tell the story. It's like just keep going. So, I mean, overall, this book, I gave it like a 3 out of 5, which is probably the lowest score I've given for a Star Wars book in some time, and especially my YouTube series. It's not that it's bad. I just feel like with the book, like this many pages, you should be able to tell more of a story. And I think that's what people wanted from this book, is that, okay, what happened after Return of the Jedi? And it tells this pretty narrow story and then you get the ending where it was probably all staged and it was done on purpose. And you're just like, okay. And some of the characters are just kind of meh. But in no ways is it a bad book. It's just oddly paced and written, but it's still pretty fun. It's part of a trilogy, so everyone's just gonna read it so they can find out what's happened next and next and next. But I feel if it was a standalone book, it would be forgotten pretty quickly. But I'm curious to see what your thoughts are. Let me know in the comment section below, and hopefully we can find out some more with the new Empire's End book coming out. If you enjoy my channel, be sure to check me out on Twitter, and you can get some of my latest updates, and I'll answer any of your questions on there. We'll see you later.